Good day, Africa, and welcome to HealthAfrik. And HealthAfrik is brought to you by the Association of African Universities headquarters here in Accra, Ghana. My name is Kwesi Sam, and I am your host for today. And today on HealthAfrik, we will be discussing suicide, a case of self-defeatism. And we are privileged to have a community psychologist, and his research area is in suicide, and he's going to help us understand the concept better, self-defeatism. And then, is there any correlation between that and then suicide? Don't forget that you can join the discussion via our social media platforms, Association of African Universities on Facebook and AAU_67 on Twitter. I'll go for a short break, and when I return, I will let you know my guest. Stay tuned. This is HealthAfrik. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you are watching HealthAfrik on the AAU television network. And today on HealthAfrik, we are discussing, just as I told you before we went for the break, suicide, the case of self-defeatism. And we are privileged to have Mr. Johnny Andoh-Arthur, and he is a community psychologist. And I told you he is so much into the research of suicide, and he's going to help us understand the concept and know better, and then learn from one or two, learn from his submissions as well. My name is Kwesi Sam. You are still watching HealthAfrik. Doc, you are welcome.
Thank you, Kwesi.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing so well.
Great. We are so much privileged to have you in the studio. Most importantly, to discuss one of the pertinent topics in mental health that has to do with suicide. And then we also want to know if it has any correlation with self-defeatism and how do the two go together. So once again, you are welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your program.
Wonderful. All right, so let's set the ball rolling. We would even want to understand in the first place, what is suicide? Oh,
yeah. Well, let's look at it from its etymological roots. Suicide actually derives from two Latin words, sui, that is oneself, and sidere, that is to strike, to kill. So suicide, sidere, that is self-killing. So the WHO defines it as an act of deliberately killing oneself. But if you want to look at a more nuanced definition of the term, based on extensive period of research, then the definition provided by a foremost researcher in the field, Edwin Schneiderman, I think is more relevant here. And he defines it as a conscious act of self-induced annihilation, best described as a multidimensional malaise in a needful person who defines an issue and perceives suicide as the best solution for that issue. So there's an element of self-awareness in there. There's an element of self-destruction in there. There's an element of a needy person, perceiving, trying to define an issue and perceiving suicide as a solution. Yeah.
But so is it always a deliberate action, a deliberate attempt? Or it could just be accidental?
But from evidence, majority of the suicides are deliberate. There's an element of consciousness in it. So, of course, we have had cases of impulsive suicides, where the whole act of the suicide actually bypasses reason, bypasses logic. But majority of the cases, based on evidence, I point to an element of self-awareness, deliberate acts, Okay, so that is what I would say on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there are a lot of myths around this concept. People think suicide, it's only those who are weak who commit suicide, those who are poor. But I've seen rich people commit suicide. I've seen poor people commit suicide. I've seen children commit suicide. And I've seen the elderly commit suicide as well. What are some of the myths associated with this concept?
Yeah, so what you just said actually points to the fact that there is a heterogeneous population of suicide. It happens to the rich, the poor, the children, the old, males, females, the priests, the congregation. So we cannot really say a particular group of people actually commit themselves. So kill themselves.
Okay.
So in terms of the myths, I think that because of the stigma and the taboo of the topic in many countries, we don't seem to learn, or we don't seem to find much more about it. And so we have our own false explanations of suicide. That is what we will capture it as myth. And one of the myths is that suicide is actually committed by people who are mentally ill. It's only people who are mentally disordered who kill themselves. Yes, we may have cases of mental related problems, but not all suicides are due to mental disorders. And indeed, not everyone who is mentally disordered or mentally ill kills himself. There are a lot of people who are mentally ill in the society. They don't kill themselves. And again, evidence also shows that for many people who kill themselves, there are no diagnosable mental illness underlying it. So that is a myth which we need to disprove. And again, there's also the myth that suicides don't have any warning signs. People who want to kill themselves don't show any signs. Again, research shows that there are verbal and there are behavioral signs that is people really send out there. Okay, so what we want to implore people is that they should just keep on watching their fellows, listening to them, and then observing these signs so they can act. Again, there are some other myths that anybody who has an intention or to kill himself is so determined to kill himself. That one has suicidal thought and he's so determined
to execute
it. Again, it has been found that that is not true. Most of them are really ambivalent. There's a part of them that want to live. And a part that want to die. Exactly. So when you are fortunate enough to see these signs or somebody communicate these intentions to you, what you can do is to help strengthen the part that want to live. And again, if somebody may have had a thought or even attempted suicide before, the person can still go on to live normal life. It doesn't mean that he will automatically accomplish it maybe in future. We can help such person to live normal life. There are some other myths. I mean, the myth that those who want to kill themselves, they don't mean it. They are just
exploring.
They are just trying to court attention. Well, to some extent, one can say yes, because we have found evidence showing that people really don't want to die. But they just want to court attention of people. They are in society, they are in a family, they are in a social network where people don't seem to mind them. So let me do this and see if people will really show me the attention. And indeed, recently we had a case of an adolescent suicide, which it was a suicidal attempt. Let me correct that, which was related to relationship breakup. The lady felt that the guy didn't really show her the love she needed at the time. She was expecting him to show. So she drank poison. And when we interviewed her, she said, I did that intentionally to
catch the boyfriend's attention?
To let him know that I'm here. And I know that when he hears that I'm in the hospital, he will come. But if you want to look at the definition as I gave, then not all of these behaviors can also be seen as suicidal. We have non-suicidal self-injury. The person is injuring himself to court attention, but not necessarily to die. So the operating word here, I want us to really put it out there, is the issue of intention to die.
To die?
Yes.
I think that is very clear.
But of course, it is difficult to really establish intention.
Exactly, especially in a part of our world.
Yeah.
What will you measure? Use to measure the intent.
It's difficult. We are people who really intended to die. But at a point they had to change their mind.
Exactly.
There are people who didn't want to die. They were just engaging in non-suicidal self-harm behaviors. But unfortunately, accidentally, I mean, they died. So the issue of intention is very important when we want to really look at this phenomenon.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Andoh, so why would someone commit suicide in the first place? Why would someone deliberately would want to die? Okay. Why would someone just put in every effort to commit suicide? Many reasons. Many reasons. And many years of extensive research has not really established a particular cause, okay, of that. But the mechanic, okay, for suicides, from psychological point of view, again, let me say that suicide is multi-causal. Many factors really are involved in it, okay? Many factors. So whatever perspective we share is just a perspective, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Okay. Okay. But being a psychologist, extensive research in the area shows that these are people who are going through some form of existential crisis, relationship problems, depression, mental health problems here and there. There's an underlying need. Okay. The need is so frustrated, and as a result, they are agitated, they are upset, they are worried. Okay. And so what they need at that particular moment is a solution to their problems. Okay. And because of what? Of the intensity of the upset, of the worry, their thinking is constricted. They have narrow focus. They are only looking at very few options. The range of options is so limited. And so the only solution that comes to mind is, let me just kill myself and I'll be free. Okay. So that is the logic, okay, of suicides. But the triggers, like I said, may be several. Substance use, mental illnesses, relationship breakdowns, loss of jobs, a whole lot of factors. Yeah. You made mention of one important aspect or one important reason, that is existential phenomenon. Why would someone, or what will get or push someone to that level where he or she will feel like, I'm not worthy to live, I don't feel like living? Yeah, I think each and every one of us has his own worldview of life. Okay, so for me, the world is supposed to be this, the world is supposed to be that. I have to, my being in the world, okay, is supposed to be this or that. So when things really happen in our lives and it doesn't really fit to our logic, internal logic of how the world is supposed to be, okay, then there's a crisis. Okay, and in an existential crisis, you can look at it even in terms of economic, religion. Somebody feels that, well, God is supposed to be there to help me. His word says that He supply all my needs according to yes. And here am I suffering. So here there will be faith crisis, which could be existential. So the person's belief in the Lord is a bit threatened. Economically, the person feels, oh, no, I'm a man. I'm supposed to, provide. Yes. I'm supposed to, be in charge. In our patriarchal societies, the man is supposed to go and come. Children are supposed to eat. And so suddenly when the man loses his job, then there's a crisis, of living. People may go through chronic problems. Why should I live and be a bother to my family? Okay, my children are just too young. They are not, schooling. I'm the breadwinner, and I'm now diagnosed of a terminal illness. Why should I live and be a burden? So feelings of burdenness, could also create some existential crisis that may push people, on that tangent. Okay. Yes. But can someone be in a very happy or good mood and still commit suicide? Ah, that is very interesting. That's very interesting. I think I'm yet to really come across a case like that. But of course, we could look at some forms of suicides where, let's say, somebody may probably feel like, okay, my society is supposed to, function very well, and we have been, the society is really moving in a very good direction, and my contribution to the society, should be per excellence. And so they came, one of the sociologists, who actually did an extensive work in suicide, for instance, will call something like altruistic suicide. Yes. Okay, so too much integration into a particular social network may want to push people to do that. They see themselves as sacrificial lamb. Let me sacrifice for the society to survive. So I wouldn't want to see the element of happiness in there, but we could see clearly that there's no element of pain. Or of a need. But here, you want to strive to achieve something. Let me go for the good of the society. So that, I don't know whether that will fit in there, but I think I'm yet
to come across real hard fact evidence showing that instead of excitement, people could do that. Maybe some mental related issues. People may suffer psychosis and they may have hallucinations. So I was dining with the Lord, you know, I was with the Clintons and all that. I was with the Obamas, I was with the, you know, Trumps.
Like a Spider-Man, I want to jump and
and in fact, a voice told me to just do that out of excitement. A voice told me to just jump over a height. So this could be underlying psychological, mental, psychiatric issues that may push people to do that in the state of, let me say, excitement. Yeah. So
then it takes us to the main concept, self-defeatism.
Wow.
And what is it at all? What is self-defeatism, and how is it related to suicide?
Very interesting question. Self-defeatism. First, self-defeatism. First, let me say that each suicide is unique. Okay, each suicide is unique, and you cannot classify all suicides, under a particular label. And so there may be some element of self-defeatism in some suicides. Okay. The topic itself, the concept, self-defeatism, basically you're looking at two things. A belief that everything I do will not succeed. Okay. And acting on that belief to ensure that outcome. So it's an issue of mental state. It's an issue of belief system that nothing works. Everything that I do wouldn't succeed. And you would also work to ensure, act to ensure that nothing succeeds for you. So it's more or less like a self-fulfilling prophecy, acting in a way to confirm your negative thought. So that may be the narrow sense of self-defeatism. But if you look at it as a broader level, broader sense of it, then any behavior at all, or any class of behaviors at all, through which the actions of the very persons, doesn't ensure the realization of an expected outcome. So you can have a goal. I want to achieve, let's say, A in my examination. You need to take certain actions, to achieve that goal. But the actions you choose, the steps you choose to take, are not really going to give you the expected outcome, the A that you want. And a typical case will be like, again, wanting to have an A, and instead of learning, you just go about sleeping in the church, praying and praying and praying, expecting the result. That's a self-defeating behavior. Again, it could also be somebody who wants to...
Can't that one be faith?
Faith? Faith without works.
That's interesting.
Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
And I always say, I tell people that the Lord we serve is a very rational God. So the Lord wants you to work. Faith without work is dead. So you want to learn, you want to pray, then you want to get the results and the blessings from your Lord. But you don't learn. You close your books and you just go and stay in the church, pray, thinking that will give you the result. That's a self-defeating behavior. Or
you want a job and then you just go to a prayer camp?
Yes. You want a job, you don't have the skill. And you want the job to come to you. You can even look at it at a macro level. And I'm seeing a lot of action, a lot of steps you are taking as a people to, really come under self-defeating behavior. As a nation, we have a lot of abundant resources, and instead of really harnessing these, instead of really having the technical expertise, harnessing the expertise to get these resources to improve our economy, we go about begging. So, at a broader level, any behavior at all, where the steps that we take is rather going to worsen the situation.
Situation for us,
In military terms, there's something we call a threat multiplier, something that worsens, a condition that worsens an issue. So the step you take is rather going to worsen it. So if you look at it, then you can look at two forms of self-defeating behaviors under the broader sense. You can look at what we call the trade-offs. Again, let me use the example of the student learning. You, a football fan, Manchester is playing, you don't want to miss the match. The following day you have an examination. A good student would want to trade the excitement of watching the favorite team to study. Learning, to study, because he believes that the benefit of learning will far outweigh the immediate gratification to be enjoyed from the watching of the football. So you have to trade off something for the other. But at the end of the day, the cost benefit should, I mean, the benefit should outweigh the cost.
Okay.
I mean, again, you could also have something like a procrastination. You need to do something today. And because of, let's say, the effort you have to put into it today, you want to postpone it. At the end of the day, is it going to help you? It's going to worsen your situation for you. So under the trade-offs, we can look at it. There's something we also call self-handicapping behavior. Here, we have people who would always want to give excuses, okay? Even before they
being given the task.
Exactly, the actions. And so somebody may be so drunk and go and write an examination, and he will fail, and so, I mean, you should understand. I mean, I was so drunk, you should understand. Somebody may want to rationalize failure by even telling students that, well, this teacher, I know him. He doesn't like me. So don't expect anything. So you try, exactly, you try to set an excuse for yourself even before you would take. Then we have other forms of self-defeating behavior where, like I said earlier, the actions that you take, like I said, will not really present the outcome that you want. These are actions that are not going to help you realize these goals. So it's good for one to really have the right approach, the right method, the right strategies to accomplish your goal. If you have a wrong strategy, then you are not likely to attain your goal. So we can look at the concept in this narrow and the broad sense. And probably that is where maybe the issue of suicide may have to come in.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, there is a level of threshold to everything.
Yes.
Even though we've already indicated what would make someone commit suicide. But at what point, is there any critical point that someone will reach and the person feels like, look, I have to give up?
Okay. Yeah, you rightly pointed out, we all have individual threshold of pain tolerance. But we have individual differences.
Differences, exactly.
So yours may be at level 5, somebody's may be at level 2.
Okay.
So when a person gets to that stage where we call intolerable pain, that is where the thought of suicide comes in. And there are two key concepts. You have the element of lethality. Lethality, that is the intensity, okay, or the intensity or the intensity of the desire, the desire to die. Okay, one has a strong wish to die. Okay, so that is the lethality. Then we have perturbation.
Okay,
the agitation, the worry, the pain. How strong or how intense is the pain? At that level where we say the pain is intolerable, that is where somebody like that would want to entertain the thought. So anybody at all, whenever you're going through pain, you're going through intense emotions, you find it difficult to really reason very well. Let me put it that way. So your options for solutions are so limited. You are concentrating overly on the pain. I mean, if you are going through that intense pain, the only solution you need is what? It's something to mollify the pain, to reduce the pain. And so you have no even the cognitive space to even think about other options. Are you with me? So at that level, we say that the person is really at the peak of that internal pain, which we call psychic. Yes, the pain of the mind.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at what are the signs. The medium, the long term. What are the signs that we should look out for in people who are prone to suicide?
Okay. Very good.
Viewers, you are still watching HealthAfrik, and HealthAfrik is brought to you by AAU. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, the show still continues. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. You are still watching HealthAfrik, and HealthAfrik is brought to you by the Association of African Universities. You can join the conversation via our social media platforms, and we are still in the studio discussing suicide, a case of self-defeatism, and we have Mr. Johnny Andoh still in the studio. Now, so before we left off for the break, we had wanted to look at the signs and the symptoms. But even before we go there, let me pick up on your last statement on self-defeatism. Is suicide the only way out when someone is experiencing that kind of state? Yeah,
so in the internal logic of the person, suicide is the best solution. And like I pointed out, because of the intensity of the pain, he has limited range of options available to him. Sure. So when we are fortunate enough to come across somebody who is suicidal, what we need to do is to try to help him expand the options available to him. And you can only do so when first you identify the particular need which is being frustrated and is generating that intense pain, and help reduce the pain. Then when the pain is down, then he can see options. But when the pain is so intense, then the person's vision is so tunneled.
Exactly.
Yeah, it has a narrow focus, and so he will only be focusing on the solution to the intensity of the pain. Yeah. And
then let the others go as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's look at the signs and the symptoms, because trust me, everyone who commits suicide, or most of the cases, they live in families, they are with friends, they are with loved ones. They don't show anything at all. Before you realize, you hear the person is gone, or he or she committed suicide. What should be the little things we should be looking out for? And even at the intensified state, what should we be looking out for?
Okay. Yes, you are right. Not all suicides give signs, I must point out, but more than 80% of suicides, I mean, through research again, show indications. We have verbal, we have non-verbal, signs that they put it out there. So one of the myths, as I said earlier, is that suicidal people don't really give signs. In fact, there are signs. For majority of them, they give both verbal and non-verbal signs. For the verbal signs, people will go like, I'm tired of life. I feel so hopeless. I'm so worthless. Why am I suffering? I want to take a journey. I want to join my dead ancestors. These are overt verbal statements that are suggestive.
And we trivialize all of them.
We trivialize it. I don't know, we are in Ghana, so probably I can use the case of Ghana.
And typically, Africa in general.
Yeah, typically because of the taboo nature. Obviously, suicide is something that provokes intense emotions. And so, even if you have a child who tells you that, Daddy, I'm suicidal, you obviously, he will make strong emotions. He provokes strong emotions in you. So, but we must relax. The person has found you a worthy person to really communicate his intentions to you, tell you this. Just relax, assure the person that, okay, all right, is there a way I can help you? So maybe we'll come to that. But with the signs, these are overt statements that people make. And we are living with them. We understand the language they speak, and so we should really know that these are not just ordinary languages. Let us not trivialize them. Let us not be judgmental. Let us not condemn them. Let us act. Okay.
Yeah, but must we act when the person makes that statement, just one or two, or there should be some consistency?
There must be a pattern.
Okay.
There must be a pattern. But sometimes you should know the person better. Okay. And I know. Let's say Samuel. Samuel is somebody who ordinarily will not make such statement. So if today someone suddenly makes such a statement, what is happening? Wow. Then you have to get close. I think I heard you say this. I mean, could you probably share this with me? Is there a way I can help you? I'm ready to help. I know you may be going through a lot of things, but I'm also there to help you as a friend. So that assurance
must be there.
Really trigger a conversation, which will eventually probably help you to really know exactly the underlying thing that is causing that. So there are several verbal statements, and depending on your language, sometimes they even use euphemisms. They may use euphemisms. I want to join the church triumphant. And that is a purely religious statement. So why would you want to join the church triumphant? These are people who are dead.
You've not fulfilled your purpose on earth.
You have not. So why, as a young man, why do you want to join the church triumphant? So he'll not say, I want to die, but he'll just use this nice euphemism. Okay. So you need to be very sensitive to some of these cues. These are for the verbal. And for the non-verbal, several. You know, like I said, you know your colleague, you know your friend, you know your son, you know your daughter, you know somebody close to you, and suddenly there's a change. You don't see the person suddenly being excited in things that ordinarily excited him.
Okay.
Somebody suddenly is also sociable, suddenly he withdraws. Somebody who is not into alcohol or drugs is suddenly taking alcohol and even or drugs. Or even you may have somebody who may have a pre-existing drinking behavior. But you know him to be taking 1 bottle, 2 bottles, but suddenly he's taking...
Graduate to 10 bottles.
Exactly. I mean, something should tell you that not everything is right. You may also have somebody who will be going about sharing his prized assets to people. He may have some gold ornaments hidden somewhere, and he feels like, let me just share it to others. He may be sharing his personal belongings. These are things that ordinarily you will not see him sharing it. He will be sharing it. So for that, and then again, you may also have somebody who may be engaging in risky behaviors. Okay. There is somebody who may be very conscientious, but suddenly he doesn't seem to care. He will be driving at recklessly, sometimes even beyond a set limit. Okay, these are things that should prompt us. But like I said, they are not enough for you to conclude that the person wants to die. But at least it should really trigger some attention for you to want to get closer to really know exactly what is really happening. What people need is an empathetic ear, a willing listener. So if you observe these signs and then you go and then you show the person that you're ready to help, you will listen to him very well. I think he will be able to open up and tell you really what is causing the pain. Yeah. Okay.
Now let's really get to understand it very well. Making reference to the job settings, the workplace. How will you be able to identify that your colleague is really having suicidal thought, and how you differentiate from the normal things? For example, you may just go like, today I'm very tired. You may be depressed for a short while, but the person may not be expressing suicidal thought. How are you able to decipher between the two to really get close? And then also in situations where we keep, some of these statements are very normal with us now. Things are hard. I mean, I feel like giving up, and we just brush it off. How will you be able to distinguish between some of these normal patterns of our days and then suicidal ideations or thoughts?
Yeah, that's an important question. I mean, all of us at one point or the other, we feel blue, as they say it. But the persistence of it, obviously, for having lost, let's say, a close relation, you'll be sad, you'll be depressed, but for how long? If it persists for a certain number of days, then you know very well that it is really becoming a problem. Now, when you look at the definition of mental health, for instance, you are looking at adapting, functioning, fulfilling relationships. You see, when these events happen to the person and it interferes
with the day-to-day
functioning, relationships, there's an interference there. The person is unable to cope again. The person is unable to contribute meaningfully to society, to friends, to network. The person is unable to engage in productive activities. Then I think then you should know that whatever he is going through is affecting all these dimensions of his health. These are things that only a true friend, a willing listener, somebody who is so close
to you will be able to observe.
To be able to observe. And so let us really lift a relationship from just the normal social discourses to levels where we can say we are there for each other. I mean, we are Africans, and one of the key attributes of Africans, our values, is Ubuntu. Ubuntu, being there for each other. Being communal. We seem to be losing these rich values that we are known of, we are known for. So let's really care for each other. Let's be there for each other. Let us observe. In mental health balance, we say you should look, you should listen, and you should ask. When you keep looking, you see some changes. You listen to certain words, and you feel it is really out of they are atypical. Then you need to ask. Go ahead and ask questions. That will help probably you to find out all these underlying. So it is difficult to really distinguish a suicidal person at workplace from a non-suicidal. But once you have elected yourself as that caring, close friend who cares so much about your colleague, you should be able to find out these signs and help.
So if I'm able to identify some warning signs and I'm not a clinician, I'm not a doctor, what should be the first thing to do as a person? Maybe I'm not a counselor, I don't have that empathy or whatever
Sure.
to understand the person.
Yeah.
What should be the first point? What should I do to support in the process?
Yeah, if you remember, I said that in one of my statements, I said that if you are fortunate enough to know these signs and for somebody to really open up to you, then know yourself as being in a unique position to save life. That whole life carries a whole generation.
Exactly.
You could have children, you could have a wife, you could have a family that are depending on him. So you can save a whole generation when you are fortunate enough to see these signs or to be confided in. And so the first thing you need to do is to assure the person that I'm there for you. I can help. Okay? Now, like I said earlier, suicide is a topic that is tabooed. Okay, it's an emotionally laden topic. And so anytime you hear anything suicide or see signs of suicide, naturally it provokes strong emotions. So when you meet such a person, please don't be nervous. Don't be so anxious. Relax. Let the person know that, no, this person is so competent enough to really deal with the issues that I'm going through, so I can really confide in him. But when a person tells you that I want to be, in fact, I want to kill myself, and well, the world is not worth living, and hey, wait, why do you want to do that? If you do that, you are rather triggering
the person's state.
Exactly, state. So just relax, and assure the person that I'm really competent enough, okay, at this stage to help. So by that engagement, he may be able to open up. You see really what are the underlying factors, and like I intimated, sometimes you need to provide practical help.
Okay.
The person may suffer, have a thwarted belongingness. He may live in a society, in a church, in a family, at workplaces where he even though he's surrounded by a crowd, but he's a loner. The person has a need, a thwarted a belonging. So to what extent, how would you want to help meet the person's affiliative need? Okay, so you can provide that help for the person. Sometimes it could be economical. I have come across cases where people are owing some sums of money, and they are being tormented by their debtors, and all they need is just some little money to be able to give to these people. If you can, I mean, I think you can go out of your way to provide that help.
Support, yeah.
I'm telling you, that person will be so grateful to you. Yeah, and there is an example of somebody who was owing just 300 Ghana cedis, and he was suicidal. He took poison, and fortunately for him, he survived. And one of my colleague counselors met him and found out that it was just an issue of debt, and he provided the solution. And my friend went ahead to even give him extra 200 to take care of himself. Do you know what? This guy used the 200 to really set up a business. You will not believe this. And as I speak to you now, he's doing so well in the business. He's bought a land and he's living a meaningful life. So sometimes you can go to the center of providing practical support when we can. But if you can't, like you said, some of the cases may be beyond us. Assure the person that there are professionals who can be of help. So get a person to want to speak
to a psychologist
or a counselor. So I think that it's about knowing the situation, knowing the exact need, knowing the intensity of the pain, and providing the right help. I use this analogy that if somebody is really starving and he's so upset, he's so agitated, all he needs is food. You can't give him shoe. So identify the need first and provide the solution to that felt need. If you can't, then probably you can link up the person to resources available around.
Okay. Yeah. And one, I don't know how to put it because it's an issue of law.
Okay.
Where in some countries in Africa, I know for Ghana, I cannot be too specific, but I know suicide is it's a criminal issue. So I met one police officer in one of our interventions and said that if you want to commit suicide, make sure you are successful. Because if you are not successful, you will just be prepared for court or whatever. Do you think we must criminalize suicide?
I think that what the policeman said from your statement is interesting, but I think he's just echoing really what the society seems to be telling other persons. From the definition that I gave and from all the discussion I've had, this is a person who is in a need. In fact, he is going through serious psychological pain, okay, as a result of a thwarted or a frustrated psychological need. Okay, and so he's in an intense state of pain, and all he needs is a solution.
Okay.
Okay, it's a solution to mollify the pain. So if you seem to aggravate the problem, the pain, then you are not helping him. Now, we have anti-suicide laws all across Africa.
Yeah.
In fact, some countries in the West have really done so well by even annulling these laws.
Reversing them.
Yes, and in Ghana, interestingly, there's something interesting here. In Ghana, our laws were bequeathed to us by our colonial masters, England.
And they are.
And can you imagine that in 1961, they repealed their laws, and we are still having these laws in our law books, statute books. So in Ghana here, when people are arrested for attempted suicide, in fact, section, I think 59 of our criminal code says that attempted suicide is a misdemeanor.
Yes.
So when you are culpable, you are either fined or you are jailed to term between 1 year
to 3 years.
And so we have had cases of people attempted suicide who have been jailed, who have been fined. My brother, if somebody is in need and you jail him, somebody is owing 300 Ghana cedis and you jail him, you fine him 500. Have you helped the person?
Not at all.
Let's be realistic in Africa. The laws were given to us by our former colonial masters. They are no longer keeping it based on sound evidence that this doesn't help. Why should we as a nation continue to keep these laws? But the good news is that in Ghana, I think we are gradually opening up. And I want to commend the Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Kufu. I think that she's pro mental health, and I think she, together with her predecessors and some big shots in the judicial service, gave us a chance. Recently, Ghana Mental Health Association, together with some of us, my center is the Suicide...
Ghana Psychological Association as well?
No, yeah, in Ghana, GPA.
GPA,
And then Center for Suicide and Violence Research, where I belong as a fellow. We went around the country, to engage these judges, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, Appeal Court judges, even magistrates. We went and engaged them. We went and we showed them the evidence, that most of the suicide attempts that they face in their courtrooms have underlying problems, underlying crisis, mental health crisis, socioeconomic issues, and so these are the issues. And so, as human as they are, they could really understand them and temper justice with what, as they say.
Sure.
And so, we are praying.
Rather look for psychological interventions for them.
Sure. And so, one thing that we echoed was the need for diversion. That these people, when they find themselves within the mental health system, the criminal justice system, because of this education we are giving these judges and the policemen, they could divert them from the criminal justice system to mental health system. And this is something that we can achieve with collaboration between the mental health experts, the government, the judiciary. And presently, we have even submitted a petition to Parliament. Some mental health advocates in Ghana, together with my center and Ghana Health Mental Health Association, we presented a petition to Parliament. And the good news is that now it's been sent to the law reforms. So we are hoping that, throughout all these discussions, something better will come. But the thing is, in countries where suicide has been decriminalized, people are able to open up.
Exactly, when they have issues.
Yes. Because when I come and confide in you that I want to kill myself, I may be even afraid because probably may even report me. When I want to kill, when somebody wants to do that, the person wants to make sure that he succeeds. Because if you don't succeed, you go through intense pain. The whole public will know what you have done. They will stigmatize you, they will stigmatize your family. So why don't you succeed? You want to succeed. So that, everything really, is settled once and for all. So the laws are not helping us. People are not able to open up. People are not able to seek help. They're not able to really disclose their worries. And so that is why we need to look at the law again in Ghana. And I'm happy the progress of the petition, I think, it looks good. I want to believe that. So
suicide is under the DSM?
Suicide, well, I think in the last time I checked, I think it's at the appendix of the DSM 5 or the revised. But I currently, it is not a disorder. Let me be
not a
disorder.
On that.
It is not. It is not. People have really made a whole lot of arguments, debate here and there, but it is not. It is not. But you could look at the class of the suicidal behaviors, ideation, and all these things as things, that may have some mental health related issues. And so we have a group of scholars, a group of researchers and practitioners who are pushing strongly that we should make it a disorder. And I think I need to really update myself with the current DSM-5, the revised version. The last time I checked, I think it was an appendix, but I really don't know the current state of.
Okay.
I have to check.
I'm asking this because of the fact that we want to understand what suicidal behaviors are, vis-a-vis whether there is anything with the DSM. I don't know.
Yeah. So the suicidal behavior, like I said, I think it's you can look at it as a spectrum of ideation, planning, attempts, and the suicide itself, completed suicide. Okay, but you see, from ideation up to the completed suicide, a lot of things can happen.
Okay.
That can catalyze, the process to suicide. And these things, factors that will catalyze the processes to suicide may be the risk factors, but they could also be protective factors, which can really help prevent the graduation from ideation to the completion. And so that is why we all need to intervene at any particular point. And anybody at all can prevent suicide.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you
so
permit
it's a multi-stakeholder thing.
Exactly.
Family, friends, loved ones, workers, clinicians.
Clinicians, politicians,
everybody.
Clergy, everybody. In fact, the WHO says suicide is everybody's business. Okay. Yeah. So
then you are a community psychologist. Yes. So if you believe that there is that kind of interrelatedness, that you made mention of that initially. If there is that kind of relationship, it helps prevent the rate at which people commit suicide. Can we say so? If there is that kind of better relationship, the society is, we are more interrelated. Family, friends, workers, and everybody, then would help in a way to curb the rate at which people commit suicide.
Exactly. I mean, it only take a close person to really identify the signs of suicide, like I said, and it takes a close person for somebody to confide in.
When the person has an ideation.
So that interrelatedness for me is so important. It's so important, and I think that Africans, this is something that we were bequeathed by our forefathers. We are communal. We are communal. We must be each other's keeper.
This is something like it's breaking off.
I mean,
each one for himself.
One can say urbanization, globalization, but we should not lose sight of who we are. Okay, I belong to a family. Okay, I have a wife, I have children, but I also belong to a standard family. I live in a house with people. If I step out of the day and I didn't see my neighbor, the door was locked. I go to work and come and the door is locked. The next day the door is locked. I should be worried. I should try and find out.
I mean, I use myself as an example. If something happens to me in my room, nobody will know.
Nobody will know. And in fact, where I'm having my PhD, for instance, there are a lot of cases of death, of suicide that happens in people's rooms. And it takes several days. Before you realize. It only takes, excuse me to say, the stench for people to even recognize that something has happened. But we are not like that. Africans, that is not who we are. We, live together as a people. But gradually, I think that we are becoming so nucleated, and as a result, this sense of community, sense of belonging is eroding. We need to really try to develop it. Religion, for instance, can be one source of really fostering belongingness. We go to church and we meet friends, but increasingly...
And preach more of existentialism.
Yes. Increasingly, it seems that pastors really do not have much time for one-on-one personal interactions.
Sure.
I mean, nothing can assuage the fears and the pain of somebody than to have a pastor who will make it an effort to greet.
Exactly.
I mean, check up on the congregants. How are you doing? How's your family? That alone is so assuring.
Sure.
You go to work. You just step out of your desk. You go to your colleague's desk. How did they go? How was the weekend? These things really they are not expensive, but really, you can really save lives.
Okay. So have you been able to do better as Africans in suicide prevention?
Yeah, I think that maybe we are getting there. But I think we have come from a culture where the suicide has been tabooed, and it's just even still a taboo.
We're not allowed to share our problems.
No. In fact, no.
We only share our problems only about dying. That aspect of our system.
Interestingly, the interrelatedness of Africans enjoins us to share our problems. That is the traditional, African communality. It is supposed to, push us, enjoins us to share problems. But increasingly, people don't seem to have trusted relationships, and so they want to keep things to themselves.
Okay.
And so that is really what is really preventing people from really sharing. Because if I want to share with you, I must be convinced that nobody will hear.
Yeah, sure.
I want to come and share with pastor, and the next time I hear the pastor is just preaching. This is my story. Next time I will not share with you.
Okay.
So let us try to win people's confidence and
exactly.
assure them that we are there for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to go, but we need to know the prevalent rate of suicide globally on the continent and in Ghana specifically as well.
Well, okay. I think that the most recent WHO report on suicide prevention globally puts suicide as one of the top 15 leading causes of death.
Oh, I see.
And that accounts for almost 800,000 deaths per year. That is scary.
Which age group?
I'm coming to that. Okay. 800,000 deaths per year. And that equates to one suicide per each 40 seconds. Each 40 seconds, one person dies.
Globally?
Globally. Now, for each suicide, between 20 and 25 people attempt suicide. And again, for each suicide, about 138 people are profoundly affected. So it means there is something that we do not have to really see as another problem. Exactly. It is globally recognized as a public health issue. And the WHO enjoins countries to take national, comprehensive, culturally relevant strategies, plans to prevent it. And we can only do so through multi-stakeholder approach. So in terms of gender, it is found that for most countries, especially in the West, and we are also seeing a part in Africa, males predominate.
Exactly. Because we know we are not allowed to share our problems now. If you're a man, you keep your problems to yourself, and until
the ratio between male-female suicide is between 3 to 1, 3 to 4, 3 to 1, or 4 to 1 in some other countries. But there are notable exceptions. In the Chinese and in the Indians, females predominate. So there are variations in suicide, from gender and from culture to culture. Again, you can also look at it. Now we also find that it is also gradually becoming a problem for the young and the middle-aged people, especially with the young adolescents. It's really rising. Exactly. In Ghana, we have found from a research my colleague is doing that it is really becoming a problem in our schools.
Exactly.
Yeah, so as a nation, we need to also look at that. And again, we have also found cases of older people's suicides. And basically, most of the push factors have been terminal ailments. These are people...
The stress that they will live on a family,
Obviously, I mean, with advancing age, there's a decline of functioning and all that, and to have terminal illness or on top of it, I mean, it creates some existential problems. So people don't want to see themselves as a burden to the society. They believe so much in what they have accomplished, and they don't want to be seen.
Peacefully.
Yes, in that stage. So we have also found evidence of suicide among other people.
And then the middle age is just midlife crisis.
Yeah, midlife crisis. And with midlife crisis, issues of relationship crisis. We have divorce, we have separation. We have the issue of masculinity. My research, I think I have a paper on that. Masculinity is also an issue, really, for middle-aged suicide among men. People are so traditional in their gender roles.
Exactly.
And so with the changing trends all over the world, people find it difficult to really embrace changing gender roles. Males are having declining power because now a lot of females are really going into the occupational sectors. And so whenever there's a loss of job, or there's maybe a decline of economic power, they feel masculinity,
I think that happens to the male chauvinistic people.
They feel their identity is threatened. And so in one of my research in Ghana here, I found cases of masculinity-related suicide. So the global picture is quite staggering and scary, and it calls for concerted efforts of all stakeholders in countries to deal with it.
So finally, what would be your, as a community psychologist, what would be your intervention? What must the government or the other stakeholders do? Even though I know we have touched on some of them, but specifically as your final word, what must be done to solve this challenge?
Well, as a community psychologist, we believe that behavior must be seen within a context. We have first of all defined suicide as a behavior. And so we do not have to always limit our measures in prevention to individual level factors.
Exactly.
Of course, we have personality individual factors, professionalism, we have introversion, shyness. All this is maybe individual, but if you look at it alone, they are not enough.
Yeah.
All the risk factors you have mentioned on their own do not cause suicide.
Unless they all come together.
Exactly, unless they interact with exact factors within the context of the person at hand. So we say that we must look at suicide within a context, okay, and then try to use multidisciplinary approaches, multi-stakeholder approaches at multi-levels. At the level of the individual, how can we help the person who is shy, who is perfectionist? How can we help? At the level of the family, how can we ensure harmonious parent-child relationships? We have found issues of lack of parental warmth as something that is really pushing young people into suicide. At the level of the school, you have found issues of bullying.
Exactly.
There are people who go to school and they are bullied by their peers. Students are being bullied by their peers, and now with the advent of technology, there's even cyberbullying.
Exactly.
This is something that we need to look at. Teacher-student relationships. How can we deepen it? At the level of the community, okay, what services do we have, okay, for people who are going through suicidal crisis?
Exactly.
How can community leaders contribute? And by community leaders, I mean teachers, I mean the clergy, I mean traditional leaders. All these people have are in a unique social roles that can help. They can become what we call gatekeepers, okay, who we can train to identify some of these warning signs. Then they can help provide some first aid or help to link these people to existing mental health resources.
Okay.
At the level of the nation, what can we do as a nation, as a society? Suicide attempt is still a criminal offense in Ghana. And if you want to see a way forward, we need to expunge that law.
Criminalize it, okay.
And then try to really encourage people to seek help when necessary. I think when you do that, all this at this multi-level with multi-stakeholder thinking, you'll be able to make a headway.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. And we
Thank
know, I definitely know who will follow you for some other episodes as well. All right. Viewers, this has been HealthAfrik, and we have been discussing an issue of suicide, a case of self-defeatism, and we were privileged to have Mr. Johnny Andoh-Arthur, who is a community psychologist, who came on the set and then shared some few thoughts with us. Thanks for watching. My name is Kwesi Sam.